Good morning, you guys. Today we're just going to be working on our stems list 2A. So it is exactly the same thing that we did for stems list 1A and 1B. You've got 10 stems that we're going to be working with. If you want to go ahead, pause the video right now so you can write those down, or you can just wait as we go along, totally up to you. You're going to have the definition in the middle of that. And then on the right hand side, you're going to have that reference word and that little definition we put with some of them when they're a little more difficult to figure out. So pause the video anytime you need to take your notes, and we're going to go ahead and get going. So the first word or first stem that we're working with this week is bio. And I'm sure you've heard that before with biology and just a lot of different stuff, especially related to school. So bio, the STEM definition for that is actually life. The reference word we're going to use this week to help us remember that is actually just biology. So go ahead, get your handy dandy highlighter, marker, color pencil, or just box it in, whatever works best for you. Go ahead and highlight our STEM. Give yourself a little reminder that bio means life. But then there's more to that word, right? We've got logy at the end of biology. So maybe I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I have my handy dandy root words, prefixes, and suffixes STEM dictionary. And I know that all of these words are in alphabetical order, or stems. So I'm gonna go to where I would find logy, and I'm in the L column. And I'm looking, and there it is, right there. L-O-G-Y means study of. So I'm gonna go ahead, get another highlighter. I'm gonna highlight that, and I'm gonna write down that it means study of. So biology means the study of life. It's as simple as that. So number 2 this week, the stem is auto. That just means self. Oh, sorry. The reference word we're going to use this week for that is actually autobiography. So go ahead, handy dandy highlighter, highlight our first stem, which is auto, which we know means self. But there's more to this word. And that middle stem, we actually just talked about. So you remember that bio means life. So we've still got a little bit more. We've got graphy, which, you know, first thought I'm thinking math, right? Because graphs, but that's maybe not right. But I have my handy dandy stems dictionary. So I'm gonna look, and I know it's in alphabetical order, and I'm in the E's, and I'm in the G's, but I'm not actually seeing graph in my G's, but I know it's a stem. So what I've done this week is I've added it to your stems dictionary. So if you've printed it out, go ahead and write it in the on that last page where it says additional stems. If you've got it, if you're keeping it on your computer, that's okay. You're just going to need to make a mental note that graph means to write. So we're going to head back over to our notes. We're either going to highlight, box in, or underline that second or that third stem. This one has 3. And we are going to say that it means to write. So we've got auto meaning self, bio meaning life, and graph meaning to write. So what is autobiography? An autobiography just means that you're writing about your life. So with those stems definitions, we could say to write about your life. Remember, these STEMS definitions aren't supposed to be super spot on. They're just supposed to help you get a better grasp of the word. All right, number 3. Our third STEM this week is port. The definition for port is carry. C-A-R-R-Y. The reference word we're going to use to help us remember that this week is transport, which I'm sure you've all heard that word used before, but maybe you don't know entirely what it means. So we're gonna take our handy dandy highlighter and we're gonna highlight our STEM port. We know that it means carry because I just told you, so we're gonna give ourselves a little reminder. But I have a second STEM there, trans. So I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I have my handy dandy STEM dictionary. So I'm gonna go, I know it's in alphabetical order, and I'm looking for the T's, and I found the T's. And there it is. Trans means across. So I'm gonna go back to my list, and I'm going to put that trans means across. So knowing that trans means across and port means carry, I know that transport's going to mean to carry something across. So I've got an object and I'm carrying it across to somewhere else. So let's go ahead and jot that down. To carry something across. So let's move on to number 4. For this week is scribe, or scrib, however you want to pronounce it. That means write. I'm pretty sure in social studies a few weeks ago, you guys talked about scribes. And knowing now that the STEM scrib or scribe means write, I bet that makes a little more sense, but I'm sure Mr. Hensler did a great job of explaining that to you guys. So the root or the reference word we're going to use this week to help us remember that is actually transcribe. So we're going to go ahead, highlight our STEM scrib or scribe. We're going to remind ourselves that it means write. But if you'll notice, that first part of our word, trans, we just talked about it. And we said that it means across. So I've got across right, which doesn't entirely make sense all by itself, across right, but if we think about transcribe and we're thinking about those stems, then if I'm transcribing something, I'm probably writing something to get it across from something else. So I'm going to jot down that it means to write something to get it across. Those basic definitions to help us just understand a little more of what the word means. So it's not entirely like definition, like accurate, like Merriam-Webster definition, but it's to help us remember what it means, especially on those EOGs and stuff. So number 5, this stem's looking pretty familiar. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna say that LOGY means study of. Because if you'll remember, we used it with biology. The reference word we're going to use is not actually biology, but geology. So I'm going to highlight my first stem, logy. I'm going to remind myself that it means study of. I'm going to highlight my first stem in that word, geo. And because I'm not Miss Stewart, because I'm not your science teacher, maybe I don't know what that word means or that stem means off the top of my head. So I'm going to go to my stems dictionary and I'm going to look for the stem geo, and there it is, right there. Geo means land or earth. So I'm going to go back to my notes and I'm going to put land / earth. So geology is just the study of land or earth. So number 6, this one's going to look a little familiar to you guys, I'm hoping. The stem is aqua. Aqua, believe it or not, just means water. The reference word we're going to use this week is actually aquarium. So I'm going to go ahead, highlight my first stem, because I know that it means water, but I just want to remind myself. But then I've got this last part, this arium. I know that the A is a part of aqua, but I'm pretty sure that A-R-I-U-M is a stem. So I'm going to highlight that part, and I'm going to go to my stems dictionary. I'm going to look for it. I know it's in here somewhere. There it is. A-R-I-U-M. A place for something. So I'm going to say that it means a place for something. And if I know that arium means a place for something and aqua means water, then aquarium must mean a place for water, which makes sense, right? Because we know that an aquarium is where we go to look at all the little fishies. So that makes perfect sense. Aquarium, a place for water. All right, let's move on to number 7. So number 7 this week is Audi, A-U-D-I. I'm pretty sure that's a car, or that's an Audi. Never mind, or maybe. Miss Crabtree doesn't know anything about cars. Anyway, number 7, Audi. That means hear. Not like H-E-R-E, but H-E-A-R. You hear something. The reference word we're going to use for this one is actually audiometer. Not a word we use commonly, but still one to know nonetheless. So we're going to highlight that first part of our stem. We know that it means hear, but maybe I'm not entirely sure what meter means. So I'm going to go to my stems dictionary, and I'm going to turn or scroll to the M's. I'm going to look for meter. There it is. M-E-T-E-R means measurement. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm going to highlight that part of my word, and I'm going to write that it means measurement. So I know Audi means hear, and I know meter now means measurement. So audiometer must mean measuring what we hear. So I'm just going to take a quick note. Measuring what we hear. Remember, you can pause the video at any time if you need to get a little more caught up. All right, number 8 this week is bell, B-E-L-L. It is not like the type of bell you were probably thinking about. It does not ring. It is not our Christmas jingle bells. It means war, actually. W-A-R. The reference word we're going to use to help us remember that. Also one you probably have not heard a lot of, even though there is a new movie out called Antebellum, but it's rated R, so you guys should probably not be watching it. But it is antebellum. A-N-T-E-B-E-L-L-U-M. All right, so you're probably thinking, Miss Crabtree, what in the world does this word mean? Great question. We're going to talk about it. Well, we know that bell now means war, since I just told you that. So I'm going to jot that down. But we've got this word in front of it, anti, that maybe we don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. We're going to go look in our stems dictionary to see if we can find it. So we're on the A's and we're looking. And it's in here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Ante. Before or ahead of time. So we're going to use that first part that means before. We're going to jot that down. So we have that bell means war and ante means before. So antebellum means before the war. It's a term that you're going to hear a lot when you start talking about the Civil War, because a period of the antebellum South is something that people use a lot. Antebellum means before the war, but it specifically and more often than not means before the Civil War, a period in the South before the Civil War. That's what antebellum is specifically talking about. All right, number 9 this week is cap. Not like a baseball cap, not like no cap, but it means take. The reference word we're going to use is capture, which, because now you know that cap means take, I think is pretty self-explanatory. Because if you're captured, right, you are taken. So to be taken. That's all capture means. All right, and then number 10 this week is size, C-I-S-E. It means cut. The reference word we're going to use to help us remember that is actually exercise. E-X-E-R-C-I-S-E. So we're going to go ahead, highlight size, because we know that it means cut, because I just told you. But there's still a little bit more to this word that maybe I don't know. So I'm going to go to my STEMS dictionary and I'm going to look for the stem EX, because that's at the beginning of my word and maybe I don't know it. And there it is. EX means out of or away from. So we're going to go with that first part that means out of. So we're going to highlight that. We're going to jot down that it means out of. So we have out of cut, which together doesn't maybe make the most grammatical sense, but if we think about it and we think about our pre-knowledge or our context clues of the word exercise, we know that we're working to try and shed things off of our bodies, right? So out of cut, we're gonna say cut things out of, which makes sense, right? Because when you're exercising, you're trying to cut harmful things out of your body. Not literally, please don't do that literally, but you're working on yourself to get fat or other bad things out of your body. So with those stems, that comes to be a little more apparent. All right, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Remember, anytime during the video, go back, pause it right here if you need to just make sure you're getting all those notes down. And when we come back to class, either on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever I see your core, we're going to do an activity to make sure these are staying memorized in our brain. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon.